This is the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts program for kindergarten, and it comes with the textbook here, the reading booster cards, and the books. And so I think this is the biggest one. I'll maybe do this last. But here are the reading booster cards, and they are helpful, but they're, I think, a little bit challenging. We started this program and we got a good chunk of the way through. We got to lesson like 84 or 85 here. But I didn't really love it. So we moved over to Logic of English for our phonics, and we absolutely love that. So here in the book, it'll kind of tell you like, get to, I think this is before we all start, to make sure we know what all these are. And I feel like this was a little bit much. Like before we're starting kindergarten, we're supposed to like be able to blend this. It feels a little bit like I want to be able to learn that. And then right away with the very first card, we're reading 3-letter words. And so, I mean, we were able to do it, but it just felt like it was a little bit advanced and a little bit like, I mean, this is card 1 and they're expecting you to be reading this. Like that's, in my opinion, that's what we're supposed to be learning here in kindergarten. So yeah, I just felt like it was like a big jump in like, okay, well, know this before you go on to the lessons. And then I'll tell you down here, like, read book 1 in the booster pack here. And then in the book, it'll be like, hey, stop, make sure that you're on card 5 before you move on with another lesson. And so it kind of tells you how to use these and how to use the books. Yeah, on card 4, we're already like reading these sentences, and we were able to do it, but it was a little bit of a stretch. And one thing we didn't really love too was like reading and memorizing sight words. I think Logic of English does a really good job introducing the sounds and how sounds work together, rather than like just memorizing things. And we did it initially, and we had a list of sight words that we were memorizing, but we didn't really love it. And this was confusing because, I mean, there are kind of sight words to know, but we're still kind of learning how S works with other letters to make a word, and already we're like, it's a Z here. So we're like, okay, when is it a Z? When isn't a Z? So I know a lot of people really love this, but for us, it just, wasn't a super great fit. We did it, and then we just moved to something else. Yeah, we're already on book 7 here. So we got a good way through this book as well. It ended up kind of being a lot of work doing this and the book, and like the main textbook and the reading booster books. Like it just kind of ended up being kind of a long time just on our language arts during the day. Also, we are more of a secular family, and we don't mind reading about faith in books, and we talk about it and stuff and make our own decisions. But I don't know, I just found that in this book especially, the preschool one didn't talk about it as much, but the kindergarten one does have quite a bit of faith-based stuff, if that's something that it's helpful to know when choosing your curriculum. And here are the books. Just kind of go through. So book 1, I Dig, and it's cute. It's a little bit flimsy, but I mean, it gets the job done. I dig, I sit, I mix it. It's pretty short. And then 2, I'm wet. Pam, Eco, the Jet, Big Red, Fun in the Sun. Gosh, I don't remember how far we got in these. We followed what they said to do. I think we got somewhere around book 11 or 12. Well, My 6 Cats, Pray. So, I mean, yeah, they do have a lot of religion-based stuff in here. I don't know if that's helpful information or not. Spring, Be Sweet, and Elk. I'm just trying to go through the last book too, just so we know like where we'll be ending. Yeah, by the end of kindergarten, they expect you to be reading all this, which would be great, I think, but I just feel like they don't really teach how to read. It's more so like, all right, I expect you to know these words and how they sound and how to read it before you go to the next lesson, kind of a thing. All right, so here is the big student book. Here's what we'll be learning and going through. And it is pretty long. It looks like 341 pages. So I'll maybe just go through the first part and then go faster through the second part. All right, so lesson 1, we're starting with our art. It says God created so much beauty in the world for us to enjoy. So we're already starting with faith stuff, which, you know, if you're into that or not. And then learning all of our vowels. We like how pretty the book is, but it does feel like it's a little bit cluttered sometimes. Also just kind of feels like there's a lot going on. Like, okay, we're doing this, and then we're reading a poem, and then we're matching. Like, I guess I kind of like to split it up a little bit more. We do our morning poetry and art. You know, we like to split up our stuff a little bit more. So my son started going through this when he was, gosh, I think almost 6. So that's kind of when we started to go through all of this. Yeah, there's activities that have him cutting with it. You know, I would kind of ask him, like, do you want to do that? And he'd be like, no, not really. I want to kind of skip it because we already do like a scissor skills book in our morning. So like, that's fine. But yeah, see, we're already kind of reading here and matching. And I just felt like I was doing more of the heavy work than the book, which is fine sometimes, but I don't know. I think it was just a little bit like, how am I teaching how to read all these sounds and letters? You know, that's kind of what the book is for, in my opinion, but Logic of English does a really, really good job of that. So here it says, like, okay, get to booster card 8 before like moving on with this lesson. So make sure in your booster book that you're up to number 8. And then move forward. We did like these. He liked doing these ones a lot. Booster card 15 already. So, I mean, it did help and we did learn. Just wasn't our favorite. But the preschool book, we really, really enjoyed. I think I definitely would recommend doing the Good and the Beautiful preschool book. And that more so is like, it goes in alphabetical order and it'll be like all about A, matching A's, big A's, little A's, like what starts with A. And so we did really like that one. It's funny to kind of go back and see where we were at with everything and, you know, how much we've improved and yeah. I think kind of where the book lost us, where he started to be like, oh, I really don't want to do this, is when they got to this Bobby and the Big Road. And I liked it, but he was so bored with listening to this and answering the questions. And we already do a reading comprehension book, so I wasn't really worried about that. But he was like, oh God, another story. Like, I think it goes on for quite a while. So there's chapter 2. Gosh, it goes up to like, I don't remember. But it goes on for a while. And he's like, oh, this again. And it's a cute little story about like a family that moved from a city to a country and everything there, but he just was really bored with it. Chapter 7, 8. And I think this is the last one. Yep, the end. So 10. Yeah, didn't love it. Yeah, we did get pretty far in this book. I guess we got a lot farther than I had thought. And I think like we're doing the Logic of English Foundations A, and we're almost at the end of the book. We have like 2 lessons left, and they are reading words very similar to this, and it just came so much easier and more naturally than it did in this book. In this book, they were like, wait, what? I don't know how to blend a P and an L. Like, how does that work? Whereas Logic of English really broke that down and the sounds down. So it was a lot easier and made a lot more sense for them. We are almost through with the book. And this is kind of where we stop. Wait, how many more pages? Oh, 330. So I guess maybe I will go through this a little bit faster. Just so we can kind of... 94. We're doing these and we're reading this. That's the curriculum tracker. 101. Learning ing. So yeah, I mean, we didn't hate this, but I think for us personally, there was just better things out there that broke things down, broke sounds down a little better and helped us to understand and just went a little faster for us. The lessons that we're doing now are a lot, I mean, not a lot shorter, but they flow easier and they are a little bit shorter than like reading through all of this stuff, which for us is not necessary because we do poetry and we do other things. We do handwriting. So this was just a little bit like, you know, redundant for us. I think it's almost the end. This is quite the hefty book. I think our back page broke off. But this is either the last page or it's the last page for our book.